25 drivers, 16 nationalities, 3 champions, 1 world champion. Road to Indy TV.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are about set to go. Again, 13 drivers waiting for my command to bring their engines to life. 280 horsepower, Tatis PM18 chassis. All the drivers on all their cars shod with Cooper tires. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to get things underway. On behalf of Cooper Tires and Allied Building Products, drivers, start your engines! And away we go, engines coming to life. Todd Lewis, time to go racing with Indy Pro.
Sure is, Rob, and we are looking forward to our final event of the day in the Cooper Tires Indy Pro 2000 race number 1 here as part of the Grand Prix of Portland. Stingray Robb and Kyle Kirkwood are alongside on the front row. What kind of a race will it be for Kyle Kirkwood? Currently chasing Rasmus Lind in the championship, only a handful of points behind, but on a roll with a total of 6 wins on the season. Lind has had his struggles and has had that lead shrink just a little bit. He will start 7th on the grid. How aggressive will he be to try to make up positions? How aggressive will he be looking to move forward quickly? How aggressive will he be trying to make his way through the Shelton chicane for the first time as he starts deeper in the field on the inside of row number 4? While the man chasing him in the championship, Kyle Kirkwood, is starting on the outside of row number 1. And how will Kirkwood handle the start as well with Stingray Robb, who has shown plenty of speed through the weekend? How aggressive will Kyle Kirkwood be? Will he allow Stingray Robb to perhaps take that position and settle in second, understanding that the championship fight is a bigger one than race number 1, but every driver wants to get every position possible. Artem Petrov, Parker Thompson on row 2. Parker Thompson has shown speed this year, picking up a couple of victories in the Pro 2000. Will he be aggressive, looking to get a 3rd victory? Versatile driver, smart driver, a strong driver. Will he make that jump forward? Going to be interesting to watch and see how they all line up and how aggressive they are. We saw a little bit of action in our USF 2000 race number 1 just prior to this, going through the Shelton chicane. Number of cars, little touch, a little maneuvering, some move back and forth. Rob Howden, who's rejoined me now, what will we see this time?
For me, the interesting thing is there's so many different storylines, each personal storyline. Stingray Robb, his 3rd year in the series, starting from the pole position. He would dearly love to get that first win. He is going to be aggressive, I believe. Kyle Kirkwood knows that his championship challenger, Rasmus Lind, is back in 7th position. He doesn't really need to be that aggressive right now. If he's able to hold a spot in front, he's probably going to take over the point lead with 3 races to go. His teammate Artem Petrov came in, this is only his 2nd weekend here running. He doesn't really care. He's going to try to win races. Drivers will set up. Let's see what happens. As I said, so many different storylines. Stingray Robb will set the pace. He is your pole sitter. Kirkwood on the outside. Petrov and Thompson on row 2. Frost and Saravalli on row number 3. Beautiful lineup as they work their way down here. Again, Stingray Robb setting the pace, looking for that flag, and we're underway. Green, 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 and down to the bottom goes Stingray Robb. Here they come in to Shelton chicane for the first time. Oh, a couple drivers pounded over top of the curb. We've got contact. I think Kirkwood's going to take the lead, believe it or not, folks. Yes, Parker Thompson involved. A number of drivers trying to go back around. We'll definitely see a replay of that, but someone overzealous, and this happened so many times last year. Who comes out unscathed? Kyle Kirkwood. Unbelievable. Let's have a look at the replay as they're working there that opening lap. We'll give you an update when we can, but here's the replay. They'll go 3 wide early on. Stingray Robb gets hammered from behind. I got to pick up the number of that car. It might have been Daniel Frost. No, it was Artem Petrov. Ooh, I don't like that. That's the teammate for Kyle Kirkwood. Petrov just drove right into the back of Stingray Robb coming into the braking zone. Absolutely pile-drived him. And you don't want to see that at all. You can see Stingray Robb had the position. He was positioned not to the inside. Kirkwood was looking to the inside. And as he's just braking, getting ready to turn in, he gets drilled from behind by Petrov.
As they come across the line for the first time, it is Kyle Kirkwood out in front. Rasmus Lind was a beneficiary, though. He's jumped all the way from 7 up to 3rd. Those two championship contenders are in close proximity.
As they run on the racetrack, based on the points we're seeing on live timing, Kirkwood would take the lead by 4 points, but Lind definitely getting the benefactory of that. Frost moves up to 2nd as well. Sarah Valley in 4th, Abel 5th, Lastish in 6th. Thompson had to take the escape route through the kind of chicane barriers to come through. You can't just blow through the chicane. You have to take that penalty. Stingray Rob comes across the line in 8th. Moises De Oliveira 9th, and Matt Round Garrido in 10th. You can be sure that Race Control will be looking at that one, but man, what a shame for Stingray Rob. Got a great start, positioned the car exactly where he should have. Kirkwood was looking to the inside, but was not going to do anything crazy. And he just got absolutely drilled from the back by Artem Petrov. The car just looping around before I don't think he even started putting turning input into the car yet when he got hit.
No, it looked like Petrov had driven too deep before and almost realized what he has done as they were reaching corner number 1.
You hate it when it's the teammate of the driver who ends up coming out on the other side with the bonus, but I don't think that would have played really into it, because again, really what this had done, it would have been better team-wise even if Stingray Rob were to have led, because there's no way that Rasmus Lind would have closed to 3rd that early. So again, Kirkwood leading, Frost 2nd, Lind 3rd, Saravalli 4th, and Jacob Abel in 5th right now. And as they run on the racetrack, it's a 3-point lead for Kyle Kirkwood.
Mentioned that Rasmus Lind was the beneficiary. Jacob Abel, who is all the way up to 5th, he started 11th. Again, as we talked about how you approach the start, depending on where you are lined up in the field. If you're a little further back, sometimes it's better to just stay back just a little bit and let what happens in front of you play out, and then find your way through. We saw the cars as they came to the green, they were tightly bunched, and we had another one going off track on the back part of the course.
Driver having some trouble going off here in turn number 10, coming back on. I'll try to pick up a number for you there of who actually went off. But indeed, that was the issue, and a great call for Rasmus Lind. I would have done the same. Breathe a little early, get off the throttle, and let things, especially when you see things happening in front of you. Everybody piling to the inside. You can see the brake smoke, and of course, you're trying to get off a little bit. Trying to figure the driver involved in that incident. That might have been Petrov. I think it could have been Petrov that went off potentially in the number 11. Corey Ender's already in the pit lane. Antoine Comeau as well appears to be down a lap. We'll see if Antoine coming back around.
Look at how Stingray Rob has decided he's going to approach this race. Just ripped off the quickest race lap so far, a 1:08.4. He is the only driver to get into the 1:08s.
Yeah, Stingray Rob's going to put his head down and work his way forward. No yellow flag at all involved in any of the incident we've had so far. It looks like Antoine Comeau coming into pit lane, then back out. He's lost a lap. Corey Enders did the same, into pit lane and back out. Artem Petrov, the driver who struggled going through turn number 10, ended up going 4 wheels off in the grass, wasn't able to get the car turned into turn 11 and 12. He went 4 wheels off and was able to bring it back on. So, well, a little bit of excitement, some chaos for sure to get things underway, but the yellow flag staying in the flag stand, and we are clean and green still. Kirkwood, Frost, Lind, Saravalli, and Abel. The gap between first and second, 0.8 of a second. And you know what? Maybe a bit of a sleeper, but let's not count out Daniel Frost. He's won 2 races this year, one on the oval, one on a street course. You win here on this natural terrain road course, and he's got the trifecta, which would be impressive for Daniel, only his 2nd year here on the road to Indy. Kyle Kirkwood, though, as I said, he did this so many times last year in USF 2000, where he may have qualified 2nd or 3rd or 4th, whatever it may be, great qualifier. But he just didn't make the mistakes, let the other guys around him make mistakes, and so many times the smoke would come up and he'd be the guy that would come out the other side absolutely unscathed, and does it again here today. Even right behind him was Parker Thompson, right? Parker was on the outside, nowhere to go for him. Tough one again. Artem Petrov getting into the back of Stingray Rob. Stingray trying to close up on Nikita Lastishkin now, though.
For Kyle Kirkwood now, it's just about head down, focus on the job ahead of you. Just run those consistent laps. Understand that everything that's taken place has really benefited you, but now it's about maintaining that consistency throughout the rest of the remaining 25 laps.
But that's Kyle Kirkwood's specialty. Like, you just can't hand it to him on a platter. Open racetrack, a car that's not good yet but is going to be good. He knows that's going to happen. He's going to be able to work his way forward. Looking at one of our cameras here, one of our AMR safety team members coming out and grabbing a piece of bodywork off the front straightaway, so no issue with there, didn't have to go yellow. But that's Kyle Kirkwood's specialty. You give him an open racetrack like that, and he's going to run away. It's just what he does. He's got so much experience through the karting ranks and all the stuff. He's represented Team USA a number of times at major events. He's a national champion karter. Won the F4 championship as well, won the F3 championship last year, won the USF 2000 championship. Championship caliber driver following in the footsteps of Oliver Askew. They're very good friends, kind of came through the same driver development program in karting. And now we're seeing a great battle here. Look at Antonio Saravalli going to work here on Rasmus Lindh. Saravalli, who had his best finish of the year, 4th in Toronto, his home race, Todd. He's starting to put some pressure on your point leader. Sure
is, and you wonder with Rasmus Lindh, though he did manage to slip his way up from 7th to 3rd in that first lap incident, you wonder what happened. Was there some sort of a bump that he survived and endured? Is the car still in 100% perfect condition?
Let's give you a kind of a connection to NTT IndyCar Series. We hear a lot of the times when teams will have a technical alliance with a certain operation. Michael Shank, or Meyer Shank Racing, having a technical alliance with Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. The Saravallis own their own car. This is the car they bought themselves. Antonio's father, Peter, bought the car. They ran with Jay Howard Driver Development earlier. They have formed a technical alliance with RP Motorsports USA, which of course Kirkwood and Petrov's team, who have shown so well. They got the car. They helped them with setup. They're actually working with the guys at Newman Walks Racing as well. It's actually under their tent here this weekend. They've done a lot of prep to the car, kind of raised the game in terms of prep. And if there's any technical connection, if they've got a setup similar to that of RP Motorsports, that's probably why we're seeing Saravalli get up there. The kid can wheel it around. He's driven shifter karts. He was a Canadian shifter kart champion, went and ran shifter karts in Europe and Italy as well. He can wheel a cart, and to have this thing the way he needs it to be, the way maybe he likes it more than it was before, we're seeing maybe a new Antonio Saravalli.
You want to see the improvement. You want to see the growth in these series all through, and that's what we've been able to point out and acknowledge through a number of these different racing series. Saravalli still within just a couple of tenths of Rasmus Lindh, who is 3rd, jumped up from 7th at the start. Daniel Frost 2nd, and Kyle Kirkwood out front. He has stretched out his lead just a little bit, about a 1.5 seconds now on Daniel Frost, as we have 7 laps completed, all under green. We did have the contact, the spinning cars at the initial start of the race, making their way through the Shelton chicane, but we did manage to stay green, no yellow thrown.
Well, and there's the issue right now. Top 5 drivers were essentially those that were able to get through unscathed. This is just the top 5. Stingray Robb has worked his way back to 6th position, but he's over 9 seconds behind that front-running quintet because, of course, he got looped around, had to get the thing refired, get back on the track. He lost about 10 seconds getting himself going again. Parker Thompson already out as well here in the number 8 machine. Tough one for Parker. 5 laps in it. He took that car to pit lane. He'll be back again tomorrow afternoon. Tough for Parker because he was most definitely in the championship battle. He finds himself now with 268 points, significantly behind Kirkwood now, which is obviously super tough. Essentially 80 points out of the championship. And after this race is done, we only have, I want to say, 99 points up for grabs in the remaining 3 races. So Parker Thompson, who's already won a championship in the Canadian Touring Car Championship in an Audi R8, still has another one to try to race in the Porsche Challenge, the Canadian Porsche Cup Challenge program. Not going to happen, I think, this year in Indy Pro 2000 for undoubtedly one of the most talented young Canadian drivers we have right now in motorsports. Watching the battle continue here as they work their way up the front straightaway. Look at this fight. This is Lindh and Abel, I believe, or is that? Gonna pick that back up. That's the fight. That's one of the. That's Stingray Robb and Nikita Lostishkin, I believe. Gonna pick up these cars because you got the exclusive Autosport cars battling it against the drivers from Juncos Racing. Stingray Robb in the number 2. 7 seconds now behind Abel. It was 9 seconds a couple of laps ago. Look how quick he's turning some pretty good lap times. I believe that's Rasmus Lint and Jacob Abel. Saravalli's gone by for third. That's indeed, okay, that is Saravalli into third. And he's flat checked out because obviously the pass he made held up Lint a little bit. Lint now battling with Jacob Abel. So Saravalli to third in the number 11. Rasmus Lint now in 10th. There's Lint there. Jacob Abel. What a great run for him. Best we've seen him run, putting the pressure here on the current point leader. Two-time race winner this year. Further back, Stingray Rob still coming. Stingray Rob might not be done for a podium here, and that would be absolutely unbelievable. He's putting fantastic laps down, quicker than everybody but Kyle Kirkwood. So Rob probably got the red mist on a little bit now after the issue. Started on the pole. Great opportunity for him to grab his first Road to Indy and Indy Pro 2000 victory in contact heading into turn one. Looped him around, taking him out of the lead and putting him significantly back. As we look at the leaders now, right now, as they run point-wise, 348 points for Kyle Kirkwood. 342 for Rasmus Lint, running now in that fourth position on track, second in points, a 6-point difference. You got to go down to Parker Thompson. We said he was off track, but he's showing back on the track again. Live timing messing us up there a little bit. We'll try to pick him up visually. Is Thompson still on the lead lap? It showed us that he was down a couple of laps.
Looks like he's a lap down. Looks like he is one lap down.
Indeed, he is one lap down for Parker Thompson. Parker with 272 points. Actually, Daniel Frost would move into third. Yeah, at 279 points. So right now, Daniel Frost running second on the racetrack would move to third in points. Parker Thompson, I believe, running right behind. Now they've got Parker back on the lead lap. They are just messing us up here. Live timing, messing with our heads a bit. We'll see if we can't get things dialed in visually for you. Got to give props to Antonio Saravalli up to P3. That's him right there, Saravalli. There's Rasmus Lint. Then we've got the two Abel cars. Yeah, Parker Thompson's still on the lead lap. For some reason, live timing told us that he was 3 laps down, then 1 lap down. He's actually closed up on his teammate. Parker Thompson's going to go side by side with his teammate Jacob Abel down the straightaway. Parker Thompson to the inside going to turn number 9. Jacob will be wise to give this one up. He's got the inside to D. Parker Thompson goes to P5. So here I am saying that Parker Thompson's out of the race. And indeed, just working his way back forward. Parker Thompson up to 5th.
Little difficulty with the timing and scoring, but sorted out now, and Parker Thompson will accept it, who has climbed all the way back up to 6th after those earlier struggles, and now has Jacob Abel in sight.
Stingray Rob into pit lane, folks. Stingray Rob has rolled that Juncos Racing number 10, or number 2 rather, down pit lane. The only thing you can think about the contact would be something with the gearbox, if they got in the back of the gearbox actuator or something, but tough one to see Stingray Rob pull into pit lane. He'll start off pole tomorrow, but such an opportunity to grab that first race win. He's shown such good speed all weekend long, and just that unfortunate contact into turn number 1 really has ended his day early.
That's frustrating, especially since after the initial contact and spin and sorting himself out, Stingray Rob was putting in some of the quickest laps of the race in the early going and really managed to charge his way back up through the field for a few spots.
Well, so what we're seeing now, if you want to really look at a battle on the racetrack, Parker Thompson is flat out the fastest driver on this racetrack right now. He is only 6.1 seconds back. We have 17 laps to go at a 30-lapper, and Parker Thompson in the number 8, fastest driver on the racetrack, a 107.5. He was 0.3 quicker than Kyle Kirkwood last time by. He is trying to close up here on Rasmus Lint. It's actually 16 seconds back in total. Live timing is updated for us completely. 16 seconds back for Parker Thompson. A win is not going to happen unless we go full course yellow, and of course watch him just start to peel his way up there as I say that. But he could get to Saravalli. There's no doubt about it. He was almost a full second faster than Saravalli last time by. Lots of laps.
We haven't even reached the halfway portion of this race yet. Parker Thompson just a little over a second behind Rasmus Lindh. Saravalli is a possibility as well, and this will be the items that you want to watch through the second half of this race, is how the drivers and how they bounce back from those issues that they had at the start of the race. Jacob Abel got a nice boost, moved up forward. He has lost that one position to Parker Thompson, but still in a pretty good spot. Rasmus Lindh, I'm interested to see whether or not Parker Thompson can run him down and whether or not he can still benefit from that great start.
I would love to see under the helmet, under the visor of Parker Thompson right now. I bet you he is steaming and he is fired up and he is driving this thing with everything he's got. Parker's a pretty level-headed guy. And if you ever meet Parker in the paddock, many will tell you he's probably the best driver outside the car. He's so personable. He's so well-spoken. Does a lot of stuff for charity. Has his own, texting and driving, anti-texting and driving campaign, Drive to Stay Alive. He does a lot of personal speaking. Great kid, very talented driver, but man, you can always poke the bear. And I think Parker Thompson's up on it right now. Let's see what he's able to do speed-wise. He is closed right up now on Rasmus Lindh. Turned to 107.9 a couple laps ago. 109.2, dropped it off here. I'm not exactly sure why he dropped off that far. 107.9 at one point was his pace. Currently running in that 5th spot. He's only 6 seconds behind Saravalli. Still a long way to go. We are not even to the halfway point, as Todd had pointed out. There's your leader coming through.
And that's Kyle Kirkwood just posting the new fast time of a 107.48. So Kyle Kirkwood with the car right at the halfway point now, finding it right in the sweet spot in terms of handling and performance, is beginning to egg out a bigger lead of over 6 seconds on Daniel Frost.
And he will gladly take that bonus point as well in terms of this battle. We had said that Stingray Rob had come into pit lane. I believe he has come back onto the racetrack. I think that's Stingray Rob indeed just in front of your leader, Kyle Kirkwood. Stingray back on the racetrack, currently running in the 9th spot. And again, he's in the middle of a championship battle as well. Not so much for the win, but he wants a spot in the top 3 potentially. He's got 254 points. Parker Thompson with 277 and Daniel Frost with 279. We'll continue to watch these the points as they update. Parker Thompson looks to be on live time, and we'll try to pick this up again. Has he been able to get by Rasmus Lindh? Drivers working their way down the front straightaway. That's Kirkwood rolling by. We'll watch them come through the Shelton chicane here. There's Stingray Rob, almost a lap down. Kirkwood coming through. Look at the gap for Kirkwood back to Daniel Frost, the driver from Singapore for Exclusive Autosport, running in the 2nd position. Saravalli runs in 3rd. Live timing back and forth between Rasmus Lindh and Parker Thompson.
Thompson did get Rasmus Lindh on that last lap. He's moved up to 4th now, and will have Saravalli in his sights.
So working through turns number 7 and 8 as they come through out of turns, that 4-5 combination through 6, 7, 8. Here comes the field through. Here's Saravalli in the red number 11 machine. We'll get a good look at the field as they come through. There's Parker Thompson. Indeed, Parker Thompson has made his way by. He's 4th. That's Rasmus Lindh's 5th. 6th now, I want to say, is Jacob Abel. The driver coming through there was one of the lap cars, I believe, of either Corey Enders or Moises de Oliveira. So indeed, Parker Thompson has worked his way into 4th. We will continue to look at the gap between 3rd and 4th. We'll look at lap times. Parker Thompson to see if he can't fight his way back up onto the podium. But that would entail having to reel in Antonio Saravalli. Saravalli across the line, 6 seconds behind Daniel Frost. Thompson further back still. Definitely not relying on live timing to give you splits. We're having some issues with it here. You'll see it better on the racetrack. There's Saravalli, and there's Parker Thompson. There's that big gap between 3rd and 4th. We'll look at lap times. That's back to 5th. So Thompson indeed quite a ways back now. Live timing says 7.3 seconds. I'd almost believe it. Saravalli actually running some pretty good lap times, very similar to that of Daniel Frost, a 108.5. Saravalli looking for his first ever podium finish here on the road to Indy. Ran a couple races last year in Indy Pro 2000, did not complete the season. Again, it's been kind of a disjointed program for him this year, running first with Jay Howard Driver Development with the car they bought themselves. moving over to with a technical alliance with RP Motorsport USA. Saravalli across the front straightaway here. Here's Parker Thompson trying to reel him in. 108.4 last time by for Saravalli. For Thompson, we'll look at lap times for Parker Thompson when he comes across the line as well. But 108.4. In fact, Saravalli quicker than Daniel Frost. Thompson's backed it off to a 109 flat. Nikita Lastushkin running in 7th. Moises De Oliveira 8th. Stingray Robb 9th. Those drivers 2 laps down, or 1 lap down each at one point. De Oliveira still in the lead lap. I think 8 drivers in the lead lap, and I want to say Stingray Robb potentially still on the lead lap in front of Kirkwood. We haven't had a good visual whether or not Kirkwood's been able to get by Stingray. So indeed, Stingray Robb still holding on to the lead lap. Kirkwood with an 8.4 second lead. He can bide his time. He knows how quick the guy in front of him is. He knows it's not a lap car. He knows it's the driver who qualified on pole. If anything, you can use him as a rabbit right now. Match his speed. There's no need to go by. If indeed Frost gets a bit closer, I'm sure a conversation would happen between the teams saying, hey, can you get him to move out of the way for us?
That's the conversation that will occur. His team will be keeping him updated with the final third of the race.
But remember, Stingray Robb actually the teammate for Rasmus Lindh, who's in the championship battle with Kyle Kirkwood. So maybe you move over maybe that just won't happen.
I doubt he's going to put the signal on and move over
No.
and allow Kyle Kirkwood by. But this is the other part as we get into the final third of this race now, is Rasmus Lindh, who did pick up a number of spots at the start of this race. He has to assess what his car has in this final third of the race. Can he push and try to get back in front of Parker Thompson, who is now about a second and a half ahead of him in these final 10 laps or so? The same thing with Saravalli, who had a nice game. Antonio Saravalli, who started 6th and finds himself in a podium position, also has a nice gap between himself and Parker Thompson. How hard does he have to push? That's the instruction he's going to be receiving from his team. Is he gaining on me? Do I have to push a little bit harder?
He'll get the split every time for sure back to Parker Thompson. What I find really interesting is Parker just laid down a 107.3. That might be the fast lap of the race. If not, it was the fastest lap turned by anybody of that last lap, a 107.3. He did a 109 flat before. I'm wondering whether something potentially damaged on the car of Parker that's stopping him from turning consistently good laps. He's able to get some magic laps in, a 103. He goes back to a 108.7 this time by. It's interesting. I look forward to talking to Parker afterwards to find out if there was any damage to the Able Motorsports machine. Kirkwood continues to stay just about 4, maybe 6, 5 or 6, maybe more car lengths behind Stingray Robb. No need to pressure, as I said. He's got a pretty big lead, almost 10 seconds now to Frost. Again, don't get too close to get the aero wash on the front wing and potentially drive off the racetrack. But again, just try to stay in the mirrors. I don't think Robb's going to let him go by at all.
And there's no need for Kirkwood to challenge him either. It's just simply maintain speed, leave yourself a little bit of a gap to get maximum performance from the bit of aerodynamics that you do have. You don't want to get into the dirty air, cause yourself to go wide into a corner, creating more problems that you have in these final 9 laps.
So, listen, we saw this last year in USF 2000, Kyle Kirkwood winning the championship. He resets the single-season victory record, comes out of the gate in the first number of races, and the first 5 races, has some issues. Parker Thompson wins the first 2 races. You know, we go to the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Rasmus Lindh steps up. He wins a couple of races, and in both St. Petersburg and the race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, opening lap front wing damage sends Kyle Kirkwood to pit lane. New wing comes back out. He has some issues. One race he gets docked for a jump start, has to go to the tail of the field after starting off pole. Horrible for, again, a lesser driver, with lesser control of his mindset, maturity may have started to crumble at that point. We go to the oval as well, and Daniel Frost ends up winning at the oval. The RP guys were pretty good. Kyle had a decent result, but Daniel Frost wins. And then he goes to Road America and wins. And then he wins, and then he wins, and then he wins. He swept Mid-Ohio. He won at Gateway. He won one of the races in Toronto. He has won 6 of the last 7 races now. We talked about him resetting the single season win record. Could he get 4 more wins and make it, what would that be, 10 wins on the season? I want to say Matthew Brabham has like 13 or 14 a number of years ago, but this kid is on a roll right now.
He certainly is. And by the way, he just set the fastest lap of the race with a 107.3.
Why wouldn't he, right? Kyle Kirkwood at number 28, looking to win 7 of the last 8 races. Again, as I said, just that one issue he had in Toronto, swept Mid-Ohio, won them the Oval at Gateway. It's been an impressive season for Kyle Kirkwood, racking up the wins, having won the championship last year. And you just think of what he's done over the last number of years as well. If he were to win this championship this year, now it's long, we got a long way to go, so there's 3 more races. If he wins, he will have won 4 open wheel championships in 3 years. He won the F4 championship, he won both F3 and USF 2000 last year, and he could potentially win Indy Pro 2000 this year. If you want a calling card to walk into an IndyCar team owner and he says, "Let me see your resume," it's here. I don't think you've seen anything like this.
And the streak of extraordinary wins that he went on last year as well, when you combine the series that he was racing in, was remarkable for Kyle Kirkwood.
Well, and the difference in last year is that he really people talked to me about this. He wasn't the dominant driver. He was indeed. He was able to win every race, but he was so smart. It's not like he got every pole, and he hasn't got every pole here either. He just is so smart, stays out of trouble, and then goes and races for wins. Did the same thing at Toronto last year. Stayed out of the chaos. Was able to pass Igor Fraga late in the race to get the victory. And that's another, maybe a more dominant year this year for Kyle Kirkwood.
That's a characteristic that successful drivers have, though. They find themselves and put themselves in position for race victories. They don't take themselves out of contention by making mistakes. You talked about the consistency that Kyle Kirkwood has shown in running lap after lap after lap. It's also putting yourself in positions to win.
And I also think, too, that when you're in a program like this and you've raced against drivers, because, of course, to come through the road to Indy, you're racing against the same drivers for a number of years. When you can start putting together that reputation, that persona, that the drivers around you know who they're up against. The same thing in the IndyCar program. You know what's going to happen when you're battling with Alexander Rossi. He's not going to give you an inch. He's going to be on the outside of you at any of the ovals. You know that when you're battling with Scott Dixon, somehow he's going to never be flustered. He's somehow going to make fuel mileage. It's just, and that's, I think, what Kyle Kirkwood's developing right now. The rest of the guys in the paddock are looking at Kyle and saying, what do we have to do to win races?
And that's where frustration sets in for the competition as well. As we're winding down, closing towards 5 laps to go. It's Kyle Kirkwood with 11+ second lead over Daniel Frost, followed by Sarah Valley, Thompson, and Lind, who is managing, it seems, to hang on to that 5th spot and at least try to minimize the damage in the championship.
Yeah, he's only down 8 points now. And again, Rasmuth, if they were able to, let's put it this way, Juncos Racing has speed. We know that Stingray Rob qualified pole for this race, off pole for the race tomorrow, so they have speed. They'll go over their data tonight, and listen, they're a championship team, Juncos Racing. They'll find more speed for both of their drivers, Lint and Rob, so watch for them to come out fighting again tomorrow. But again, as you said, P5, not bad for Rasmuth Lint. He limits the damage as they run based on the points that we see here on live timing. Kirkwood would leave the track here today with an 8-point lead over Rasmuth Lint, 348 to 340. Next in line, based on what we're seeing, and these are unofficial times, or unofficial points, Daniel Frost and Parker Thompson tied with 279 points for 3rd in the championship.
So still plenty to be decided in the championship.
Indeed.
And these drivers will be just as anxious to find themselves in a positive position tomorrow when they have race number 2 already qualified for. As you mentioned, Stingray Rob will start on the pole, and they will race tomorrow afternoon following the Indy cars.
Kyle Kirkwood's lead, 11.1 seconds, 5 laps remaining, last race of the day here. It's been a great one, and of course we are looking forward to an awesome race tomorrow. Line them up, stack them, and pack them with great races, Todd. We'll be calling a lot of amazing racing. You, of course, have the schedule. There's so much racing going on tomorrow. Those of you, if you're anywhere within driving distance from Portland and maybe you haven't got tickets yet and you're listening to the broadcast or watching it here on Road to Indy TV on the app, wherever it may be, get out here to Portland. This place, there was so much energy around this place just today and even yesterday. Of course, the autograph session for IndyCar was lined up from down to the bridges. This event taking another huge step forward from last year.
It's a wonderful crowd that we have had today. In fact, on Friday as well, a good crowd for our Friday events as well. It starts early tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. with the first race of the day with the MX5 Cup. The gates will open at 8:15. Be here early. We're expecting another large crowd, even bigger than today. Stadium Super Trucks, who had a huge reception earlier today. The IndyCar Series race is in the middle of all of the action tomorrow. That goes green at about 12:40, so you'll get plenty of action in terms of the road to Indy before with the Indy Lights race, and then following the IndyCar race, it's the Indy Pro 2000 and the USF 2000 to wrap up our afternoon tomorrow.
And again, like as I said, if you're here for the IndyCar event, as I'm sure everybody will be, if you don't want to be part of the traffic, just relax. Put your feet up, grab a spot in the grandstands. 2 more races for you after IndyCar tomorrow. That way, when we're all said and done, you'll hop in your car, you'll head out, no traffic at all, and you'll watch some fantastic racing, including the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. 3 laps remaining here in Indy Pro, and Kyle Kirkwood is on a roll. He's looking to win 7 of the last 8 races. What a run it's been so far for the driver from Jupiter, Florida. Clean and green out front, 11.8 seconds. A great run for Daniel Frost as well. I got to give it up for Daniel. He started 5th, stayed out of trouble getting through, able to go to 2nd. Antonio Serravalle would be his first podium. It's only his 2nd year here in the Indy Pro 2000 class. Serravalle in the number 11. I guarantee there's lots of people listening back home in Toronto and Markham who are watching this broadcast cheering for Antonio.
And what a boost that is for a driver as well, understanding that you're wanting to improve and make progress as the season moves along. You improve as the weekend moves along. Serravalle starts in the 6th spot. He avoids the difficulties on the opening lap, going through the Shelton chicane, finds himself in 3rd position, and stays there. That's the other part, is he maintains that spot through the race.
Turning really good lap times as well. Parker Thompson starting to close up with his lap times, but Serravalle quicker than Frost right now. And again, Serravalle in a long line of all those great Canadian drivers that got their start at Goodwood Kartway near Toronto. A young driver starting karting there, as so many people did. It's interesting to watch him come through the ranks. And against Antonio Serravalle, P3. Parker Thompson keeps closing. He's down to about 3.4 seconds back, with just 2 laps to go rather. Serravalle looks pretty safe in that 3rd position. Kyle Kirkwood, though, must be smiling behind the visor. And what would have went through his mind going into turn number 1? He had tucked to the inside to be safe, kind of defending to the inside. He's got Stingray Robb on the outside. He knows Stingray's got him. He's going to follow him through, and all of a sudden, chaos ensues.
And it's just one of those things that appears in front of you, and you'll see the smile from Kyle Kirkwood, I suspect, after the race. But also, as we've seen often in interviews, an air of calm and confidence as well, which is a real sense of maturity from a young driver.
1 to go. Final lap on the racetrack for Kyle Kirkwood, Daniel Frost, and Antonio Serravalle. Parker Thompson most definitely trying to close, but it's been just a tremendous day here for Kyle Kirkwood in the number 28. Here he comes. He's obviously pulled back a little bit, let Stingray Robb pull away out of the final corners. Onto the back straightaway now comes Kyle Kirkwood in the RP Motorsports Racing entry. Young American driver, still a couple steps away from the IndyCar program, but yeah, you know this kid. Good friends with Oliver Askew. They've kind of followed each other through the ranks. Kirkwood through 9, 10, 11, and 12. Can you believe it, folks? 7 wins in the last 8 races. A roll out of turn number 12. On the throttle across the finish line. The winner today, round 1 of the weekend for Indy Pro 2000, Kyle Kirkwood, victorious at Portland International Raceway. And with the victory, takes an 8-point lead in the championship battle, trying to win the scholarship that will put him in the seat of an Indy Lights car in 2020. And would he take the spot of his friend Oliver Askew at Andretti Autosport? That's a possibility. Kyle Kirkwood with the win, 12.3 seconds the advantage. Daniel Frost, a strong run to 2nd. Antonio Serravalle, what a run. American, Singapore, Canada, top 3 drivers. Parker Thompson, another Canadian there as well. He ends up P4, fought his way back forward. Good recovery from the opening lap chaos for Parker Thompson. The Able Motorsports driver finishing 4th. Rasmus Lint in 5th. Nikita Lastishkin, solid run to 6th spot. Jacob Abel in 7th. He and Lastishkin with a good fight throughout the race. Stingray Robb, what more can you say? issue and going into the opening corner, hit from behind by Artem Petrov, fell to the tail of the field, stayed on the lead lap. Stingray Robb in 8th position. Moises de Oliveira ends up in 9th, Artem Petrov in 10th, Corey Enders 11th, Antoine Camo in 12th, and Matt Round Garrido out after just 4 laps in the number 27 for BN Racing. But like I said, we hold our breath at the start of any of the events here at Portland. We used to call it the Festival Curves, now it's the Shelton Chicane. It's a place where you hold your breath because anything can happen, and it's the difference of braking, the turn-in, the wide entry. Well, we definitely had a bit of excitement here in Indy Pro.
Yeah, indeed. That's what we always wonder at the start of this race. It creates great opportunity. It creates great action, but you never know exactly what you're going to see. It's going to depend on not only what you do in the car, but what the competitors do as well. And for Kyle Kirkwood, it worked out beautifully.
Got the Mazda on the suit there, the scholarship last year for winning Indy Pro 2000. I think he's starting to feel it. He starts to know what's happening here now, that it's all starting to come together for him. Another victory. He takes the point lead by 8 markers. His RP Motorsports crew coming over, a team from Italy who decided to start a program here in the U.S. in the Road to Indy. I like the conversation there. They're saying you did it right. You made the right call. You see the tap of the side of the head. That was definitely a good move there for him to go to the inside. And again, there's your top 10, folks. Kyle Kirkwood with the win. Daniel Frost in 2nd. Antonio Saravalli in 3rd. Parker Thompson in the 4th spot. Rasmuth Lint in 5th. Nikita Lostashkin in 6th. Jacob Abel in 7th. Stingray Robb in the 8th spot. Moises de Oliveira in 9th. And Artem Petrov rounding out the top 10.
So I suspect there will be some conversations between team members and other competitors for tomorrow's race in the afternoon. It will follow the IndyCar race about how we approach the first couple of corners on this track for tomorrow afternoon's 30-lap race.
If you're still watching on the big screen there, I love the conversation between Kyle Kirkwood and Parker Thompson, the hand gestures of what actually happened on the racetrack. And again, just a crazy start to that one. But yeah, there's going to be some conversations. I would not be surprised if someone has to sit down and talk to a race steward as well, because that's not what needed to happen at the start of that race. Nonetheless, for Kyle Kirkwood, he'll take it. As I said, coming down to the corner, giving room to Stingray Robb, and he ends up coming out of turn number 2 with nothing but open racetrack in front of him.
Hey guys, here at Portland International Raceway, just finished the first race, and once again we've won. Phenomenal feeling. To me, I think we were going to have to battle a lot more for that, with Stingray Robb starting on the pole, us starting off pole. But Stingray had a little mishap happen going into turn 1, and unfortunately he was taken out early, and they were able to pit and get him back out there. But like I said, he put him out of the chance to win the race. So it created a gap for us, and I was able to just pull away with the lead after a few laps once our car settled in. And I think Rasmus Lindh finished 5th, so that's awesome for us in the points. I think that puts us right back up into the points lead. And it's a good feeling coming back from where we were before Road America, where we had a couple of DNFs. And I think the good luck is finally taking its turn towards us. So it's a good weekend here so far.